Yeah, the Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kahaloyim Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rukal Kodash. That's all praises, right? To Yahweh, Bahasham, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Bahasham Rukal Kodash, through the Holy Spirit, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who were well. Salutations to the occupant of four winds, preaching the truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwaf, who listen and learn either under your husband or your spiritual leader the things that are necessary in silence and have come back to the fold. Shalom, this is your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. And this is the Geneva, right? So the Geneva Convention, right, which they always have, dealing with these world leaders who are against you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and you Israelite foreigners who are scattered abroad, right? Or you Israelites who look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel, right? And they come against you. Technically, whether you know it or not, they're against you. So Geneva was this 17th May 2020. So this year, the WHO, which is the WHO or the World Health Organization, in a world threatened by conflict, iniquities, in it says in inequalities or whatever, right? Because they're talking about the inequalities. Inequalities mean lack of fairness, right? So they're talking about so-called you blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians not so-called not being treated fair, but we know that's not what they care about, because ultimately this is going to be the time of slaughter, right? And how do we know that? We're going to keep reading. It says the climate crisis and pandemics, the 75 situations of the World Health Assembly will stress the importance of building a healthy and peaceful planet, right? And the planet hasn't been helpful since those peace since those devils got into that land, the 1948ers or the 1949ers or 1480, right? Right, since they got into that land, 1948, right? Or 1949, somewhere like that, yeah. But the world hasn't had any peace. By harnessing science, well, we know about the Lord says about the wisdom of this world, and science that's falsely so called, right? Data, technology, and innovation, right? The so-called innovations. This year, situations of health assembly will focus on the theme of, wait, this is how we know that this is not going to be what you think it is, because though they're talking about inequality, like of all of a sudden they're going to have inequality or quality, inequality or quality, or how would you say it? Basically, as that they would care about you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians to make things equal or fair. That's what I mean. they're not going to do it because they could have did that a long time ago. So, and this is how you know they're not planning on doing that. We'll focus on the theme of health. So by the false narrative of saying that they want to make sure the world is healthy and have peace. For what? Peace. And we know what that means, right? If you ain't know anything about the Bible, right? And a bonehead nigga knows about peace, right? For health, and will run from the 22nd through the 28th of May, right, at the Palace des Nations, right? And matter of fact, let's look up that word, and let's look up the Geneva, right? So this is Palais. Basically, Palais means palace. So they're meeting at a palace, right, in Geneva to speak about the world, right? And mind you that there's no so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, and there's no one of Israel to represent the real Israelites, right, who was in captivity, who the Lord said that I know your poverty, but thou art rich. When those people who say that they're Israeli, they're rich, and they're at that convention. They're at the palace, right? Yeah, so typed in the meaning of Geneva. Geneva is a juniper tree, right? So Geneva is a dramatic female given name which many juniper trees Geneva is an obscure name. Less than 200 babies in the United States are named Geneva every year, right? But basically it means juniper tree, to get to the point, right? So, matter of fact, let's go into the other part first. The peace. Yeah, so this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. Let's try this New International Version. While people are saying peace and safety, right? Peace. And the whole thing they're talking about is safety. This the pandemic, the unequalness of so-called unfairness, whatever, right? Which they're not just coming out saying against minorities or so-called Black, Hispanic, and they're just saying, throwing out a word, right? Saying this thing that means unequal. So I'm just guessing that's what that's supposed to mean. They're saying about the unequalness of Black people, right? Or whatever. They're not really saying Black or Hispanic or anybody. They're just saying unequalness, which that can mean for them. Climate change, all these different things. Peace, and safety. Destruction will come on them suddenly as labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. And ultimately, that's what it's coming down to, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Why? Because the enemy Satan know that he got but a short time, right? Let's see, what is this? Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. English Standard Version. While people are saying, what people? Basically, these so-called world leaders, right? Climate change, like, they care about everybody so much, right? But then there's, like they said, conflict. There's wars going on. World War III is about to happen. You already had war. The first woe, the second woe, and the third woe comes quickly, right? And we're at that point. So when has there ever been peace? America's only been around less years than any of these other so-called countries, and it's been in more war conflicts than any country ever. So when has there ever been peace? Right? But it says, while people are saying there is peace and safety, that ultimately that's what they're trying to tell you, peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them as labor pains come upon a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. Right? Of course, I love the King James. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them as travail upon a woman, which basically the same thing, labor pains, travail upon a woman with child, that she's about to have a baby, pregnant, and they shall not escape. And so you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians who are not in the know, who's not being either warned properly or you're not listening, right? Because actually that's actually happening. But then you're being warned because you're seeing it. The Lord sent forth the scourges, so you've seen it. It's like the Lord said, when you can't say you can't believe in God, because you can look at the natural things in the world and see that God exists. So there's no excuse, technically. So, yeah. Yeah, this is Job chapter 30, verse 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision. And it's not that you're younger. Esau is actually older, but it's their mannerism, right? Because they don't have the wisdom and knowledge or understanding of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They haven't done the things to mature in the spirit, which nor could they, right? It says, but they have us in derision. You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, they have you in derision. They have you all messed up. And we're trying to warn you and tell you what needs to be done, because this is that time, right? Whose father I would have not disdained to have sat with my dogs from of my flock, right? Because we know that these Edomites, they will have, some type of sexual orientation with animals, right? Yea, where to might the strength of their hand profit me, in whom old age was perished, for want and famine they were solitude, fleed into the wilderness, right? Because all the other nations went against them. This is the time of just after you know, the 12 Caesars have ruled, and now they're getting pushed into the Caucasus Mountains, right? That's what this is talking about. And it says because they're from Mount Seir, technically, but then they got pushed into the Caucasus Mountain. They flee into the wilderness in the former time, desolate and waste, right? Because they didn't have any stand in the earth, right? For 1,000 years. Who cut up mellows by the bushes and what? Juniper roots. So you can't say that these people who's going to the Geneva Convention, who's about to make decisions about what's going on in the world, and you Israelites are scattered around the world, right? Via through what the Lord said. I'm just going to Deuteronomy 28:64, but there's many more verses that it says that the Israelites are going to be scattered, right? It even tells you that in the New Testament, right? When the Lord said it, right? It says, what is it? Something about the Gentiles shall have the time, and they should go into slavery and be into all the world. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to get to that, because ultimately that's really what it comes down to. But that time is coming again, right? So it says, Salakia. So the Geneva Convention. So basically, juniper roots, which juniper means Geneva, right? Which that's what they're having, is juniper roots. And that's crazy that this is saying roots, because that's where their roots go back to. Their roots go back to this. Juniper roots for their meat. They were driven from amongst men. They cried after them as after a thief. And what have the Edomites done? They took all sorts of people, land mass, took their culture, took their land all over the world. Australia wasn't with these so-called people. You know, Hong Kong didn't have these people. South Africa didn't have these people. Europe didn't have them. North America, America, Central America, Brazil, Colombia. I mean, you get the picture, right? These people are all over the world now, right? Who have conquered these lands, these Edomites. And it says, to dwell in the cliffs of the rocks, right? Caucasus Mountains, the cliffs of the rocks, of the valleys, of the caves of the earth, and in the rocks, among the bushes, they brayed under the nellows, they were gathered together. It brayed, the original caveman, right? Esau, Edom. They were children of fools, yea, right? Because ultimately, the Lord is finna set them up. They're setting themselves up for failure by doing this. Children of fools, yea, children of base men, right? They're base. They're the bottom, man. But you know, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian women love them, right? Because they so-called look like they're on top for now. But the Lord said they're base men, right? And the Lord doesn't change, right? Because you got a few $1 million or $1 billion or $1 trillion, doesn't change who you are. You're a base man. They were valor than the earth, right? Which means you're nothing, man. And now I, their song, yea, I am their byword. Yeah, and now you're their byword as far as what? Being a Black Lives Matter, or you're a transgender. You're their byword, because you used to be nigga, spick, engine, Tonto, whatever they, whatever they could think of, Jigaboo, Ghost, Beaner, right? You're their byword, right? But you're not taking heed to what the warning is, because what these people saying peace, peace, right? Or peace and safety, or peace, peace, which basically is peace and safety. This is Ezekiel 31, and I'm gonna go verse 1. It says, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face towards Jerusalem, and drop thy word towards the holy place. Hey man, you can't tell me that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is not they're not so-called black men. He said, and drop thy word, man. As you know what I'm saying? Hey, that's a black thing. You gonna drop the word, nigga. Drop the beat. Go ahead, drop it. Let's kick it. Kick the beat. Let's drop this. Let's drop this dope rhyme. You know what I'm saying? Basically talking about words, right? When you're rapping, so drop that. Just drop thy word towards the holy place, which you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and prophesied against the land of Israel, right? And your people before a place, but also the land got desolate too, right? So the mother is without her children, right? And say to the land of Israel, thus saith Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. I am against thee. So the Lord is going to be against you, so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, in these last days, because the ones who ain't took heed, right? Not if you repented, the Lord's not against you. But if you have not repented, the Lord is definitely against you. He's saying, I'm against thee. I am against thee. I will draw forth my sword out of his sheath, right? That's like the, like a holster, like for a gun, sheath, right? And will cut off the righteous and the, see, it's not going to be everybody. Look what he's cutting off, and cut off the righteous and the wicked. So if the righteous are good, he's not going to destroy you as righteous, but he's going to cut off the righteous from the good, and save the righteous, and destroy the wicked, right? Let's keep going down. Let's skip down here. It says, again, the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, say, a sword is sharpened, right? And that's ultimately what they've been doing. Rex 84, Jade Ham, all these different blacked out helicopters in every city, which was on the news. In every city, it was on the news. I did some videos on it a long time ago, but of course, they took down my those sites, whatever. But they had blacked out helicopters in every city, training with the military and police, right? So that's that training, that Jade Helm, that sword is sharpened and furbished, right? Which means it's going to be ready, sharpened and ready to cut, right? It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter, right? On you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians that are not paying attention, that don't want to repent. It is furbished that it may glitter. Shall we then make mirth? Should you be out there partying and BSing and all this other stuff? Bootsy badass talking about he want to have a party with Usher on some skates and Steve Harvey, and if Steve Harvey don't want to come, at least send a suit, and saying all sorts of crazy nonsense. He said he wants to have a prom. He wants to have a prom. A nigga probably ain't finished high school. He wants to have a prom dance, right? And the whole world's about to collapse on you, right? Peace, peace, or peace and safety, right? Then sudden destruction, right? And that's what the Lord is saying. It says, should we then make mirth? It containeth the rod of my son as every tree, right? And that's Esau always technically going against the father's son, because really the rulership of the world belongs to Yahweh Shai. And they're going to contend against Yahweh Shai when he comes back. But first, you wicked got to get wiped out the way, you Israelites. It says, and he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer, which is the Esau Edom, right? This was it Geneva Convention, because basically that's what they're finna do all around the world. Cry and howl, son of man, right? Which you Israelites, for it shall be upon my people, which are the Israelites, not the whole world, but it is going to be the whole world. But he's actually talking about the Israelites in this thing. And it shall be upon all the princes, which is going to be all the princes of Israel are where? Deuteronomy 28:64, around the whole world. So due to this Geneva Convention, the juniper roots, which we know that's Esau, that's why it goes back to their roots, back to the juniper root, when they were cavemen, Caucasian, which means cave dweller, right? It says of princes of Israel, terrorists, by reason, what? By reason of sword, of the sword, shall be upon my people, smite therefore upon the thigh, right? And that's what ultimately is going to happen, man. You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are going to get it, man, because that's the thing that's coming, because they're giving you what? Peace, peace, or peace and safety. Then what's coming? Right here. It says what? And the sword shall be upon my people, right? Cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people. What? That sword, that destruction, that sore slaughter. Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation, right? And ultimately that's what really want to come. Destruction on one hand, salvation on the other hand. The Lord, a false balance is an abomination to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Says salvation, a strong strength, and the kingdom of our power, Yahweh, and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser, the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accuse them before our power day and night, right? Which is Esau Edom, right? On your regular local TV news, they the one who run these record and rap companies. I'm a bust you, I kill you. Da, da, da. So the narrative is you so-called Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians are just gangsters. The narrative is let's put movies that you're just gangsters, or let's just put movies you're just a drunk and an F up, right? That's their narrative. That's their byword, right? So it says and they overcame him, right? Who was they? The righteous, because the Lord said, "I'm gonna cut off the righteous and the wicked." But that the Lord's not gonna destroy the righteous; He's gonna destroy the wicked. But He's gonna cut you off from. He's gonna separate the righteous from the wicked. Separate the righteous Israelites from the wicked Israelites. So this was gonna happen. It says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death, right? Dealing with the righteous. So some righteous people will die. They will get cut off, which means death, right? But let's see. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. So yeah, though these righteous people some of these righteous people will get killed. Go ahead, rejoice, world. These righteous people got killed. Just like when they killed the prophets, people were rejoicing. But the Lord said He's going to require the blood of those prophets in the end days. And the punishment that the Lord is going to afflict on the world is going to be according to all of them back in the day, long time ago, that they killed the prophets. And that's the wrath He's going to bring now. Right? So, but it says, them that dwell in them, right? So them that dwell on the earth. But woe, what woe mean? Destruction, weeping, gnashing teeth, death, destruction, or just pure hell, famine, death, pestilence, right? To them, to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, right? Talking about the ICBM missiles are going to even hit the sea, right? But the sea deals with the people too, right? Talking about the people. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he know, right? He knoweth that he haveth but a short time, right? He haveth but a short time, because what? Let's go ahead and go with that. And the dragon was, and when the dragon saw that he was cast down unto the earth, he persecuted the woman, which deals with Israel, and brought forth her son, right? Which is talking about Yahushua back when Herod did that. But ultimately, that's what it is, man, because it's the Lord's referencing that because it's that's what they're doing. They're seeing forth their kingdom crumbling, right? Yeah, so this is Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh. Who's going to fear the name of Yahweh? Ultimately dealing with the elect, dealing with the righteous Israelites from the west, right? And where did the teaching of the truth came from? From one west, which is dealing with the western hemisphere of the United States, where the truth came out of, right? And his glory from the rising of the sun, and what this word is went out through the unicorn, right? Through the internet, through the satellites, through the internet, and reached brothers all over the world, right? In the eastern part of the world, you know, basically all over the world to the rising of the sun, where the east is at. Even when the enemy, because they're going to come in knowing that they got but a short time, but when the enemy, so that's how you know that the Old Testament is not done away with, because some things haven't came to pass yet. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, shall lift up a standard for who? For the righteous Israelites. Not for you wicked ones. You wicked ones are going to be in that sore slaughter, right? Stand up against them, right? And the Lord's going to stand up against Esau, Edom. And the Redeemer, which is Yahushai, shall come to Zion, which is you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and you Israelite foreigners who are around the world, who have repented and came back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? And you Israelite foreigners who may look like another nation, right? Or your phenotype looks like another nation, but you know your bloodline, your genome goes back to Israel, because you sense and you understand the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Slakia. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turned from and to them that have turned from transgressions. What are transgressions? Sins. Those that have turned from their sins in Jacob, right? You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, saith Yahweh. So everybody's not gonna. Hey, matter of fact, what did the Lord say? Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 16, verse 28. Verily, which is in red, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, real name Yahushai. Verily, which means truly, I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man, which is Yahushai, coming in his kingdom, right? Coming to destroy you Edomites when he raise up a standard against you Edomites, right? Against for the righteous sake, right? So, and what's his name? Vocab Malone can't understand this because he's not spiritual. He don't know the scriptures. He don't know the prophecies, and he don't really believe in the Bible. He just trying to push off a narrative on you so they can keep ruling, But that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? If it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. Matter of fact, let's get that too, and then we're going to be done. Because the whole thing with this is what? The Lord says, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death. Now, he's talking to Peter. He's talking to John. He's talking to Mark, Luke. And then I think there was like 70 other disciples and other men that were under him and other people that followed. Because remember, he healed the guy who couldn't see, and then he followed him. So there was a bunch of people that followed the Lord. So all those people there, and you're thinking more than 2,000. So are there somebody walking around that's 2,000, 5,000, or 2,000, 8,000 years old, 800 years old? No. Those people died from back then. But what are they talking about? What are you talking about now? And this time right here, when they come in like a flood, right? Yeah. So this is Luke 21:24, and they shall fall by the sword, right? Which is the 70 AD, right? I think Apostle Hart said it was a little bit earlier than that, like 65 AD. But then the main thing was 70 AD, right? When they really got a hold of it, because wars actually take time a lot of time, But 70 A.D. says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, right? Which of those wicked Israelites fell by the edge of the sword? That was in that time, a little about 2,000 or so years ago. But that thing is going to happen again, right? But it's going to be a far more thing. It's going to be turned up. Hey, the year of the turn up, which Apostle Hart coined this. You know what I mean? It's going to be turned up. It's going to be 70 A.D. but turned up on Mega Blast, right? And shall be led away captive into all nations. Because like I was saying, to remind you about Deuteronomy 28:64, scattered. So guess what? You're scattered. You were scattered then 2,000 years ago. You're scattered now. So when this edge of the sword comes, it's going to be upon the whole world, because that's why they're doing this this meeting, which are going to be 190, from what I heard, 190 countries are going to give you peace, right? Or peace and safety, right? But sudden destruction is actually going to happen, right? It says, and they shall fall by the sword. That's ultimately what you're going to be doing. The wicked Israelites fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive, right? Going into those concentration camps, right? Because this time you're not getting led away captive to another country or anything like that. Even if you do, when you get led away, if you get led away captive to another country, they're just still going to put you in some type of FEMA camp or some type of encampment where you're going to be either re-educated or terminated, right? Fall by the edges, captivity into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And we're basically at that time that the Gentiles' time is fulfilled, because that's why they have to come down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. Yes, it's Matthew 24:23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Hamashiach, or there, believe it not, right? Because ultimately they're going to have that, Project Bluebeam or whatever, right? 52 fake out. See if they can fake you out, right? For there shall arise false Hamashiach, those who say they believe in the Messiah, which they'll call him Jesus, which that's not his name. That's a Greek name. And matter of fact, it only means earth pig, right? And then they'll have him as a self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? Which that's a false narrative. They'll say that they're about Hamashiach. They're Hamashiachims, but they're not Hamashiachims. And false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, in so much that if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect. And ultimately, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to deceive you into that time that you take the MOTB, right? The Charagma, which is the CHIP, right? And it's coming to that time, right? Or you be led away, killed by the sword or famine. They don't really care. But you're hey, listen, they want that NWO. Not they're gonna use the WHO to bring in the NWO. But a lot of you Israelites don't know what's going on. So call Loyum Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim in the Four Winds preaching the truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To you Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. To you sisters, you Aquafium, who have come back to the fold, listen and learn it unto your husband or your spiritual leader, learn it in silence. Shalom, death to America.